Many are worried that another government shutdown is on the way, but some sources say that President Trump is willing to sign a security deal to avoid another shutdown. The proposed agreement is set to include $1.3 billion for a border barrier. This amount is well below the $5.7 Trump was asking for the border wall, and is below the $1.6 billion that was offered in a Senate package last year. For more about the border deal, we go to Karen Kafa.
He's not thrilled with it, but sources close to President Trump and who have spoken with him about it suggest that he will sign off on the bipartisan border security deal struck on Capitol Hill. However, the White House said this morning that he needs to see the final agreement before a final decision.
We're going to be reviewing the details and seeing what if the president will move forward and sign it. You know, obviously the president's not happy with the funding levels right now, and you know, he would look at alternative funding to ensure that we're able to secure the resources that we need.
At just under $1.4 billion for 55 miles of border barrier, it falls well short of his $5.7 billion ask for 234 miles. Senate Appropriations Chairman Richard Shelby, a Republican, spoke with the president yesterday and told him to take the deal.
I told him, I said, Mr. President, this is only a down payment on the wall. I said, you know, they said you weren't going to get any money. We did get you some money.
The president considering other options to fund the wall. It could be a combination of executive actions and may or may not include declaring a national emergency. Still, legal challenges are likely to follow. Meanwhile, Capitol Hill needs to move the legislation that reflects the compromise before a stopgap spending measure currently funding about a quarter of the federal government expires at midnight on Friday. The House intends to vote tomorrow night. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
On Tuesday, drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was found guilty on all accounts that included continued operation of a criminal organization. That alone constitutes a term of life in prison. Camila Bernal has more.
Throughout the trial and in many, many chilling witness testimonies, the American public and the world was introduced to the real El Chapo, a ruthless killer, a violent drug trafficker.
After 56 witnesses and 200 hours of testimony, the jury decided Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's fate. Guilty on all 10 counts, including engaging in a criminal enterprise, money laundering, and drug smuggling. According to witnesses, Guzman ordered multiple executions, engaged in bribery, and even committed murder. U.S. prosecutors calling this a victory for the American people and for Mexicans who have lost loved ones in the drug war.
He pulled all the strings. He directed all of the production, the smuggling.
Guzman is notorious for his Mexican prison escapes, once in 2001 and another time in 2015 through a tunnel. He was recaptured in 2016 and extradited to the United States to face federal charges. And now Guzman is expected to be sentenced to life, but his lawyers say he's not giving up hope of freedom.
He's strong, and he wants to let everyone know that he is going to continue his fight.
In New York, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
In the midst of disarray and the crisis filling the streets of Venezuela, the hospitals are struggling to stay afloat as they continue to decay. For more information on the crisis in Venezuela, we go to Sam Kiley.
In heavily guarded hospitals, the government here wants to keep visitors out and its shameful secrets in. A failed economy, now being crippled by American sanctions, has starved hospitals of drugs and the very necessity of life itself, food. Like us, it's smuggled in by volunteers. If the government got hold of these essential supplies, these aid workers believe, they would be stolen and sold on the black market.
Angie cannot leave the hospital. She lives on a ventilator. Incredibly, Venezuela's president has closed the country's borders to foreign aid.
The entire structure is dependent on outside charity help, precisely because the government refuses to take it. It will not accept that it needs help, because that means the government admits that it's failed.
Antonella is 6 and she has a tumour in her neck. She's terminally ill and there are no cancer drugs to buy her a little extra time. It's her mother, though, who's getting treatment today. She fainted from lack of food when she arrived at the hospital. Now she's recovering on a drip. It's just saline solution. So this handout is just in time. In every room here, small donations are welcome. Staff here tell us that only 3 of 18 operating theatres are working, that this is the only paediatric surgical unit left in the capital, and that 500 children are on its waiting list. One doctor quickly writes a shopping list of desperately needed supplies. She can't show her face for fear of being punished for doing this. The US and many other nations blame President Nicolas Maduro for scenes like this, and they support his rival Juan Guaido. US-led efforts to cut off Maduro's access to foreign currency are intended to drive him from power. That might work eventually. In the meantime, it can only deepen the suffering. Sam Kiley, CNN, Caracas.